Most of the time, our dreams draw on what is known as archetypal or universal symbols, symbols that have the same meaning for everybody. But sometimes we pull a symbol into a dream that only has a meaning for us. On today's show, I demonstrate that. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody. So excited you are here to join us.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and souls on their earth journey. That's why we focus on dreams. If you want to know what you're meant to be doing at this very moment in time in your life, then look no further than your dreams, because they reveal it all, everything about everything. Now that's a tall thing to say, but we do it week by week. We focus on very specifics that dreams tell us about a person's life.
Michael, do we have any special events or anything coming up that should be exciting that people are definitely going to want to hear about?
Of course we do. We always do. But we have big events coming up. We have our major 3-day summit on May 16th to 18th. And that's totally free, but we charge $97 for you to reserve your seat. And then we give you that money back once you show up to any of it. And we do that for a number of reasons. But one is to make the show, the whole event, and it really is an extravaganza of dreams, be a fun event for everybody that goes. So everybody that's going to be there is in alignment and going to love it. The other thing we have is on Thursday, May 1st, we have a special workshop that is a bonus for anybody who registers for our May 16th event. But if you register before Thursday, you get to go to this live workshop where we talk about dreams you do not want to have. And that's kind of funny. We cover a few different things in it. We cover dreams you don't want to have because their meaning is not good. Things you wouldn't want to be shown in your dreams because you don't want what it means. But then we also cover other things, dreams that you think you would not want to have, for instance, but really, when you know what they mean, you would be delighted. Anyway, that event is on Thursday. If you want to get to either of those, go to dream-analysis.com/free, sign up, and you'll get all the details that you need.
Excellent. All right, Michael, I believe there is something you want to talk about.
Well, looking at the dreams that we cover, and one of the things that is new and great about the show, I suppose, for the last 5 months or so, is that Nicole answers dreams that are sent into the mailbag. So we ask you all the time, send us dreams. They're the lifeblood of the show. But because she answers those, we don't have to take as many different people onto the show because they're already getting answers from Nicole. And so we've followed themes. And one of the themes that we focus on is when your energy is out of balance. We have masculine and feminine energy, and we need to balance them. And it's not a balance between masculine and feminine. It's not masculine on one side, feminine on the other. It's balance the masculine and balance the feminine, both separately. And that's what you need to do. When you do, then amazing things happen in your dreams and amazing things start to happen in your life. Your dreams talk about those energies in a different way altogether. Anyway, one of the issues with masculine energy being out of balance is that you don't feel worthy of the space you occupy. You have a sense of, I'm not allowed to be here, or I am taking up a place that is meant for somebody else. Now, the terrible thing about that is what knocks your balance off, and at what age. It is very early in life, as an infant and child, when the very person you depend on for support, your father, doesn't give it to you. When we get dad support, we worry about dad hurting anyone who looks at us sideways. You should be so believing in your dad that you taunt other kids with, my dad could beat up your dad. I'm joking, of course, but I want you to realize you already know what true support from dad should feel like. And I say should because most of us don't get it. When dad plays his role properly, he makes the world safe for you. And your belief in his ability causes you to believe the world is safe. And in adulthood, you continue to believe the world is safe. And because our thoughts create our reality, the world indeed is safe for you. Others will get assaulted, but not you. Now, this may sound very simple, but it really is. From working with the dreams of so many sexual assault victims, I see a common thread. Everyone I have worked with already believed that there is no one there for them. If they fell into a hole, nobody would rescue them. Everybody would just walk on by. Now, how can you have that belief? Well, because in childhood, it was true for you. The world you're born into creates your paradigm view. If dad is there for you, the world is safe. If he is not, it is unsafe. If he doesn't want you around, it's even worse. You believe you're on your own. If you want anything, you have to do it for yourself. Nobody is going to help you. Nobody is going to save you. Nobody is going to make the world safe for you. By examining the dreams that wind the clock back to childhood, I always see that pattern. I didn't expect it, but over a great many years, it has never not been the case. Healing the trauma around dad fixes the belief, and assaults stop. Did you know, and hopefully you don't because it's not part of your world, that people who are victims of sexual assault are usually assaulted multiple times, not just once, at different ages in their lives, and in different cities by different people? At the very root of this, the first domino that makes this torture even possible is dad not being there for you in childhood. He doesn't have to be absent. He just has to not care about you.
Wow, Michael, that's very intense. And I find it very interesting because there's a lot of women that have had something like that. There's a lot.
I put this together because of the first dream that we're going to cover.
Well, this first dream shows a masculine imbalance. I'm interested to see what you have to say.
Yes, this dream is about not feeling worthy of the space you occupy. But see how many places in this dream you can see that particular issue where the dreamer doesn't feel that she should take up that space.
Wow. All right. Well, the title of this dream is The Chill Man in the House, and it's from Sherry. I was in the car. Matt was driving. That's my youngest stepson. He needed something from his friend, so he stopped the car at the intersection and parked it by the curb at the corner, by the stop sign. Matt ran into the house without knocking. I was thinking it was kind of rude to just barge into someone's house and not to knock first, but I followed him. I heard him say hi to someone, and he ran straight up the stairs to the right where I knew his friend's room was. It was boys' stuff, so I decided to wait for them down there. When I looked around the room, I saw an overweight man sitting, but in a lounging way on one side of the couch. He was dressed all in navy blue with a button-up colored shirt and tactical pants with pockets on the outsides of them. I knew he had just returned home from work. There was another young male kid, 7 to 8-year-old maybe, sitting in another chair. They were both watching TV. The older man said hi to me, not caring that I had just barged into his house without an invitation. I sat on a simple empty chair just to my left that I was sure was not going to be comfortable. I asked the man, how was work? We had a very pleasant conversation. I don't remember any of it while I waited. All righty, Michael.
So I've said, where are the parts in this dream where it's about her not worthy of being there, or a sense of, I shouldn't be here, or I'm taking up somebody else's place? So it's obvious when the son just goes into the house and doesn't knock first. That's a very obvious one. And she's saying it's kind of rude to just barge in. But think about this. This dream is about her childhood. It's about early years. We even have a 7 or 8-year-old in the dream, right? So it means by this age, she's already aware of this. She's been trained that this is not your house. You're not entitled to be here. You know, it's not a verbal training, but that training came much earlier. This part of the dream is just focusing on this particular age. So I arrive at my parents' house after I'm born, and I don't feel entitled to just be there, right? So that's why it's horrible. It's not about, okay, you wouldn't do this in someone else's house. But think about what a dream is. A dream is you're painting on a blank canvas, this dialogue with your soul, and what you're painting is a house you're not allowed to go into. You know, it's nuts. What else have we got? Do you spot any ones before I called about, Sandy?
Sitting in a chair that's not going to be comfortable, I thought was interesting.
That's another part of it. Yeah, this space isn't going to be comfortable. I'm not going to be happy here. Definitely. Another one is Matt went upstairs into his friends and she's like, oh, it's boys' stuff. So I decided to wait for them here. So again, I wouldn't be welcome in that space. So I'm not going to go into that space. That's for other people. That's 3. 3 already in the dream. Then she says the older man didn't care that she had just barged into his home. Now, what we look for when we're doing dreams is words like that. This man is not caring. This means dad didn't care, which is exactly the issue we're trying to find when we're working on healing the issues around dad, the trauma around dad. We expect all this type of stuff to come up. It'll only come up if it's really there. But here it is in this dream. Now, this one is kind of an antidote because it's okay that she's gone into this space and the man doesn't care that way, but there's still the negative keywords are brought up. So that's super, super important. And then there's another one. I had to quiz her about it because I thought it was pretty obvious. I asked her about the intersection. She said, yeah, it was a T-junction and there was a stop sign there. And so I wrote that in and you read it out that they parked at the corner by a stop sign. Now, in reality, can you do that?
No. In reality, you have to stay 30 feet away from a stop sign. And you would never park in an intersection.
So I asked her, well, how did you feel about the fact that Matt parked there and you guys got out of the car? And she's like, we shouldn't have been there. We're not allowed. And so it's like, there's another one. It's just funny how it's littered throughout a dream. I am not entitled to be here. So she, like, this is her dream. This is her blank canvas. And in this canvas, she's painted so many places where she's not allowed to be.
This is so interesting because, Michael, I would not have picked up on any of them except for the chair not being comfortable.
We see other stuff too. The father in the dream, the man in the dream is dressed in navy, I think she says.
All navy blue with button-up colored shirt and tactical pants.
Yeah. So the navy says that dad had a negative philosophy of life and that impacted me too. But when we're in a therapy, what's really good is we want to see this stuff. We want to see the negative stuff happening. And then we want to see positive males showing up in this dream. And this character is kind of a positive male because he doesn't kick her out. And she has a very pleasant conversation with him. And I asked her about that. I said, do you remember having pleasant conversations with your dad? She goes, as an adult, so she had to think about it. So we want to see the issues and then we want to see these positive characters starting to come in. And then eventually it'll be all positive characters and then it'll be none. It'll just be, here's the next thing that I need to do. And even the son running into the house, Matt running in, he's showing her, this is okay to do. You feel awkward, I don't. So we have a male, because she's working on the masculine, and males represent the masculine in our dreams. So we have a male showing her, this is okay. It's okay now, like we're healing the issue. And the fact that he's younger than her and all that, it's healing issues in the past. Anyway, next dream maybe?
Yeah, let's go. The interesting thing. So we got another dream from Sherry, and this one's titled Fish with a Sock in Its Mouth. Here we go. I was standing in the shallow water of a lake beside a dock. There was a fish with a sock in its mouth in front of me. It felt like the water was higher now because the fish was almost in front of my face, but my upper body was not underwater. I did not have to bend down to touch the fish. The sock was a knit work sock, gray/white with red stripe. The fish was staring at me and looked like it kept trying to spit it out. It would open its mouth and I would try to get my right hand in to grab it, but I couldn't quite get it out. And I was a little scared to put my hand totally inside its mouth. I don't think I was trying really hard to get it out because I wasn't sure that I was supposed to be doing that. The fish was attached to a purple dog toy bone, and I was keeping it in the water close to me and guiding it under the dock. Alrighty, that's a very strange dream, Michael.
This is a dream I was talking about at the start, where you have a dream with a personal association symbol. And so when I was talking to her about this dream, I said, what is a knit work sock? Because I've never heard of them. And I was looking it up on the web because she was describing them to me, but I was looking them up. And while I was doing that, after a while, she goes, it's exactly the type of sock my dad wore. And then she goes, oh my God, yeah, my dad wore them. So it's just a dream's way of using a symbol that is very personal to you. Like I would not find that from looking up anything that it's going to be about that. Now I could channel on it and I could get it. But it was just funny how she already knew what it meant when I started pushing the button down. And it's the thing that stands out in the dream. A fish with a sock in its mouth. So you need to know what that sock means, right? And so it's a work sock. So it's about how dad impacts her spiritual career. We know it's spiritual because of the fish and the lake. That's all about our spirituality. So she is now developing her spiritual side. She's moving into a career in that space. But with that sock in the fish's mouth, it means that she is still carrying an influence from dad that she needs to eliminate. And I asked her, do you know what it is? And she goes, oh, yeah, very rigid, structured. You have to do it this way. So anyway, she knows now when she finds herself setting things up and is very rigid and strict like that, that she needs to like relax, breathe, and then think about, does it really need to be that way? Because she's got to change it. Anyway, still in the middle of therapy or nearing the end, when we see these issues showing up in a dream, it's going to change.
So, what is the purple dog toy bone? And she was keeping it in the water close to her.
Yeah, so we have a few things. First of all, we have the dock, so it's about birth. The lake says she has a spiritual gift that she's not using. She needs to find an outlet for it. We don't like that it's shallow water. That's not a good thing.
Nope.
So she's meant to deepen her spiritual understanding. But then what's good pretty quickly it happens is she says, oh, now the water's higher because I'm looking at it. It's at level with my face, even though I'm not underwater. And that's what we want in dreams. So when we see something at eye level or above, we know it's something we have to address, something positive that we need to do. And if it's lower, it's something we need to eliminate, typically. And so here, this is something she has to do. She has to remove dad's influence from her work life, even though this is going to be her spiritual path. Then, because we see the water, we expect to see gifts. And we see hands-on healing because she keeps talking about hands, putting the hand in the mouth. We know she's a spiritual leader, or we would suspect it, right? But then we see
because
the purple.
Of the purple?
Yeah, the purple tells us, because that's the color of the crown chakra, and that's about spiritual leadership. And then she even says what she's doing with the fish is guiding the fish under the dock. So she is a guide. She's able to lead people spiritually. And then why is it a toy bone? It's because the issues go back to childhood, but we expect to see childhood because we already see birth. We don't need to see any other symbols. And so I channeled on this for her specifically and what that specific purple toy dog bone means and what she's doing with it is she has the ability when stepping into her spiritual leadership gift, which she has, when she's using it, she's going to be able to guide her clients by using what they missed out on in life as the focus. It doesn't have to be there, but I can guide you because I know what you missed out on. And I asked her how she got that ability, and she does. She knows what people miss out on. But interesting all the same.
Very interesting. And then she didn't try too hard to grab the sock out of the fish's mouth. She was a little scared to put her whole hand inside of its mouth. So she's still fighting fear?
Exactly. And that's normal. When we start any therapy, when people are usually very eager, they're like, yeah, I want to cut the ties with mom, or I want to cut the ties with dad, or whatever. But their subconscious mind is going, are you insane? Do you not remember the way things were? And I've created all these defensive mechanisms that protect you because of all that trauma. And you now want to look at it again. And so ultimately what we do though, so while we think we're heading in fine, the fears come up, but we have to see them. We expect to see them. And she's already on the good side of it. Everything's starting to feel good again. But for a few weeks during a therapy, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, it is going to be unpleasant, but it needs to be because you've got to get up the anger and all the other negative feelings that are around from that neglect and the way dad was in childhood.
Fabulous. All righty. I think we have one more dream for Sherry, and this one's titled Fixing the Father-in-Law's Laptop. So this ought to be interesting. A group of people from England have come over, and my father-in-law is angry and upset with his laptop computer. He wants to show them something, but the program he wants is not working. I'm standing close to him trying to help him, but I was also kind of to the side watching what is going on. I knew how to fix it. First, I am trying to explain to him what to do, and he was doing okay with the directions. But he didn't understand the second part I was asking him to do. I started working on the computer a bit, cleaning up files. I was worried about doing it in front of everybody or while everybody was around because I didn't want them to see what I was doing. I was also worried that I would do it wrong and wreck it. All righty, Michael.
All right. So she's working on issues around dad and dealing with conditioning, or childhood programming is another way of saying conditioning. And so here she is deleting programs from her father's computer. Now in the dream, it's a father-in-law. We just dropped the in-law. So she's fixing programming from childhood connected to her dad. And we almost don't need to interpret anything else, but that's exactly what she's doing. It's great. But we do see some other things in the dream. She doesn't like people to be watching over her shoulder when she's doing anything. When I asked her about that, I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's fine. You can stop talking. I believe you. It's true. It really is a trigger. But again, if I was to see this dream from somebody and I didn't know them, I would know they're in therapy because of what they're doing in the dream. Even though it's uncomfortable, she's still doing it. And that's what we want to see.
What does England have to do? Why is there a group of people from England?
England is about education. And I never asked her, like, is your father-in-law from England? But what we do see is a group of people from England come over. So again, we see the spiritual leadership because of the group. It's funny when you look at a dream or a series of dreams, you're going to see the same things coming up over and over and over again using different symbols. And that's one of the fantastic things about the Ashling dictionary. When you look up something in your dreams, you're going to see so many symbols all saying the same things. It's not like a scattered approach where your dreams are talking about everything. They're not. They're very focused. They talk about the same things over and over and over.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, Michael, it looks like we're getting close on time, so let's quickly bring Nicole on. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Michael. Today from the radio show Mailbag, I want to share with you this incredible story that we got in from a listener. She wrote, and I'm abbreviating in parts. I've been obsessively listening to my dreams and interpreting them to the best of my ability for about 1.5 years now. And it's been life-changing. I've always believed in their power, but there's always been this tiny voice inside of me wondering, what if this isn't real? Over time, I've sent a few emails about how my dreams have been telling me to write my life story, which is terrifying. Part of me keeps thinking, this can't be my purpose. And yet, the message keeps coming through. But today, I want to share a story about my health. It started with dreams about food, specifically what I needed to eliminate. I listened. I cut out dairy and red meat completely. I'm not supposed to eat wheat either, which I avoid about 90% of the time. Every time I slip up or have a cheat day, those exact foods show up in my dreams, loud and clear. But even if I'm eating well, I kept having dreams about my colon and elimination, and I just didn't understand why. There's been a recurring theme: kitty litter. I'm always cleaning out kitty litter. Or I see overflowing toilets. Or I'm in a place surrounded by concrete. Then, this week, I found something out at the doctor that stopped me in my tracks. I had an x-ray done, and my entire colon is backed up, caked with hardened stool. I had no idea. I'd been going to the washroom, so I thought everything was fine. But it turns out it wasn't. Now I have to do a full colonoscopy prep to clear everything out. It hit me. My dreams were telling me this the whole time. I had no idea. I was speechless. No one in my life really shares the same love I have for dream interpretation, so I'm sharing this story here because it honestly blew my mind, and it took my belief in dreams to another level entirely. It sounds like the dreamer better get to writing her life story too. So, just in case we needed it, not that we do, just a little bit more proof about why the Ashling method is the world's most accurate dream interpretation method. So with that, I'll send it back to you, Sandy.
If you enjoy endless puzzling over what you're meant to do in life, jumping from course to course, piling up the books and certificates, but still feeling unfulfilled, The Ashling Dream Interpretation Summit is not for you. It will strip away your confusion, leaving you with clarity. Clarity. Who wants that? Is success really earned when you get there quickly? What are you going to do with all the free time? Spend hours and hours with loved ones? God forbid. Get sunburned on vacation? Avoid these outcomes. Don't sign up for our summit. Maybe you sometimes think there is nothing to all this spiritual stuff. That will be robbed too. The Ashling Summit shows the clear answers given in your dreams, the proof that the spirit world is real and talking to you. Yes, you. Gone will be the roller coaster of questioning your sanity. Our summit swaps that for excitement at finally knowing the truth. Excitement raises your heart rate and fills you with energy. Then you have to do something to burn up that energy. You probably even want to share your excitement with your friends, thus impacting their lives. Can you live with that consequence? You won't be able to shout at God either. No. Isn't it just great to vent and shake your fist at the sky and righteously blame God for ignoring you? You know He is. He knows He is. And that's the type of relationship you've become accustomed to. Well, the Ashling Summit wrecks that relationship. When you know how God speaks to you directly, you lose the ability to be frustrated with Him. Who wants that? If you love your life exactly the way it is, if you love blaming the universe or God or whoever for your misfortune, if you dread the idea of being empowered and responsible for your own life, don't click the button below. It's just not worth it. The Ashling School 3-day Dream Interpretation Summit runs from May 16th to 18th. You can register below, but I wouldn't. Warn others. What if a close friend accidentally registers? Could you live with the guilt of knowing you could have saved them from these same outcomes? Tell your friends so they know to avoid it too.
I want to remind everybody we have a workshop coming up on May 1st. That's this Thursday at noon Pacific time. So go register for our summit if you want to be included in that. And then we have our 3-day summit. It is Friday, May 16th through Sunday, May 18th, and you definitely don't want to miss that. This is my favorite one. It's completely woo. It's got a lot of good information for you. So make sure you go register. Michael, you want to add more and give them the link?
It's dream-analysis.com/free. And for anybody keeping score from last week, we did have another dream. We didn't get to it, and it is the one that we didn't cover last week, and it's from the same dreamer. So we will probably start with that one next week. Take care.
Bye.